Welcome to this Q&A video. I literally just asked the Instagram people to ask me a question. We have already a bunch of questions. It's literally been like a minute. I always try to answer the first question, whatever it is. And the first one is actually, what is my favorite content about leadership? Great people in the field of leadership is John C. Maxwell. Literally has a book about 21 laws of leadership, something like that, 21 irrefutable laws of leadership, and then studying the life of Jesus Christ, how he came on earth to serve and not be served. And then obviously there's other people in the Bible like Moses, how he led the people out of Egypt into the promised land. There's so many examples in the Bible about that. How does profitability feel like? Okay, I'm not really planning for any of these answers, so you know what? It feels like everything else. I think profitability isn't like this all of a sudden moment. It's lots of little moments along the way. The secret to actually enjoying it or it having a positive impact on you is actually just recognizing it and celebrating little things, whether that be doing ASR, doing forecast, doing the process, but then it becomes an unconscious thing. You know, it's like building a habit. When you are able to do that, you're more able to tune into what it feels like to be a profitable trader. And even thinking about it out loud right now, it's like, in order to actually be profitable, you have to do the things that a profitable trader would do. Otherwise, if you're not doing it, then you wouldn't become a profitable trader. Does that make sense? So what would a profitable trader actually do? It's like consistency on all processes and then mental consistency as well. So it's technical and then it's mindset. You have to be able to do that now until the results come. And the results will come, right? But there's always a time lag between what you're inputting and the results. Same way, look at how companies grow, right? Put the work in behind the scenes and then all of a sudden at some point it becomes like the next big thing and people think it's an overnight success. So when you're thinking about how I actually feel about profitability as a whole, like that's what I want to say. I want to give all that extra context, but like I would definitely say it's not like an instant thing. I think when you're thinking of that like instant hit or rush of like you've made it, like that's an issue. Like you've got to be careful with that. And you may feel that when you get like a payout or again results externally driven, like taking your family on holiday and you get to pay for it, right? Maybe that's where you feel that rush, right? That what profitability you expect to feel like. But again, in reality, profitability, you have to learn to define what that means and where you're basing your focus on, what is your mind set on. But let's say surface level answer without getting so deep. How does profitability feel like? Of course it feels great. Why does it feel great? Because you're now able to make money through trading, through a bunch of candles on the screen. I get to have a lot of freedom, time freedom, location freedom, financial freedom. Like when you trade and you are profitable, it opens so much opportunity, it opens so much doors, and you can leverage that. So that's the quick answer if you want. Right, okay, I've had to get myself a cheeky coffee. So good. I'm feeling actually a little bit under the weather, but let's push on through with these questions. How can I get my motivation back to studying trading again? I know it's all about my whys. Help. Okay, yeah, definitely goes back to a lot of your why and your vision and why trading in the first place. And the reason that is to bring clarity as to where you're actually going, right? We always want to have a compass. We always want to have a North Star as to where we are going. So whenever we are falling astray, maybe being lazy, procrastinating, we know back in our mind that this isn't where my compass is going. This isn't where the North Star is. Like the North Star is this way. And why am I procrastinating, choosing Netflix instead of watching content or backtesting, right? So that's kind of like the reason why we want to have our why, making sure it actually is something we want to do, not what society tells us. And look, there's so many ways I could talk about, so many points, so many things that I can share about this topic of just getting back into trading, motivation, you know, but I'll talk about one thing. And that one thing is falling in love with the process. When you fall in love with the process, when you fall in love with the journey, ultimately, you don't really think about the outcome or the destination or the end goal. because you're just doing what you're doing and you're falling in love with it. And I know that's so hard to sometimes even understand, but it's such a big mindset shift, which is such a big win in itself, is when you can really accept and surrender to the process rather than putting the outcome of trading on a pedestal, right? When you're just doing what you need to do every single day, just showing up, learn to get a motivational kick out of that. Because remember that the loop shouldn't be motivation first to then take action. It should always be just take the action, which then you feel more motivated to then take action, and then it's like this loop. But I know sometimes it's hard to take that first step, so that's why you can either put yourself in situations or listen to uplifting content or something that energizes you or something that encourages you. Like even this is an encouragement, right? What is encouragement? It just means pouring courage into someone. Understanding your why is a big thing. Understanding clarity, having specificity in things is important, but then also never ever neglect that the process and the journey is the reason why we do this. Because we think it's profitability, we think it's consistency, but in fact it's actually winning at yourself, at your everything that you tell yourself that you're going to do, consistency in your habits and your behaviors and your language. We think it's consistency in the market, but the consistency we seek in the market is actually the consistency we seek in ourselves. And I know that's very deep stuff, but if you really understand that, or ponder on it and reflect on it, as you become a consistent person, as you set goals and you stick to it and build integrity and build discipline and work on your focus, which is actually one of the most important skills to learn, not just in trading, but in life. Master the art of trading or master the art of focus. You'll look into everything trading wise, but you'll notice a lot of it is just mindset. It's just yourself. It's all within. All right. I think, again, I try to talk about one thing and not bring you guys all the way around the world with an answer, but I think it's just, there's just so much into it that we could get into such rich topics here. But yeah, I don't know, hopefully that gave you some motivation or encouragement to just get after it, you know. And I'm sorry if I didn't answer your question properly, but anyways, on to the next one. Another sip of coffee. All right, here's a bit more of a personal one. What is so special about UK? I mean, you can trade from anywhere. This one's a short answer. I think, obviously, if you don't know, my closest friends and family are from the UK, and I don't ever think home is about the location or the place. I think what makes home is the people and the connections you have there. So yeah, I feel very connected. I feel a lot of home when I'm with my younger siblings or my close friends. Church family is a big thing as well. My faith is a big thing. And yeah, that's what makes UK so special to me, is the people, is the connections. Okay, next one. How to get over the anxiety of a real account. That's a good one, because when I think of any emotion associated in trading, or just any emotion, right? One thing that nearly every single psychology or mindset book around trading will tell you is that use your emotions as an indicator. Never think, oh no, I'm getting anxiety. This is panic alarms go off, right? Actually lean into that. Like, okay, where does that anxiety come from? Why do I get anxiety about a real account? If you really sit with yourself and learn to sort of just self-regulate, ask yourself these deep questions, be curious. I think that's such a good skill to have in general, as to why you get anxiety over a real account. Like, are you having anxiety or friction when it comes to money, right? We can start talking about abundance and scarcity here. It's a very common thing. Anxiety can just be the umbrella term, but then if you go deep into it, what are the root issues here? But like, something I will say just to answer your question straight up is, first of all, reframe that anxiety, get clear on what are you actually anxious about. Is it the amount of money? Is it the fact that the money could be lost? Did you grow up with not a lot of money? Because then it gives you sort of a starting point or foundation as to how to then elevate your mindset and your psychology, which will eventually help you in your trading. So that is something I'll definitely be doing, is just some introspection around that. And then in terms of like moving forward or practical steps, is obviously never putting all your eggs on one basket. I can understand that could provoke a lot of anxiety. and just starting small, building up, working on your technical skills to then build confidence and unconscious competence that you know what you're doing, right? You know what you're doing. And that shouldn't just be in trading, it should also be in your personal life. Like, how you do one thing is how you do everything. If you are keeping promises in your trading, like I will forecast, I will backtest, and I'll look over my data, refine, etc., etc. How you do one thing is how you do everything. You must also then apply that to your real life. Like I said earlier, the consistency you seek in the markets starts with yourself. And it's something that I continuously have to work on. Of course, we're human. There's moments when, we're making progress, we slip up a little bit, but then we continue to make progress. And overall, we increase our baseline. Overall, over time, anxiety can be detected, can be managed, and then you can move accordingly. Because, of course, there'll be times, even if you're profitable, even if you're trading, 6 figures, 7 figures, there's going to be moments of emotion, but just use that as an indicator. Don't let that get to you. Don't let your emotions control you. You learn to control them, you learn to manage them, and of course, you get quicker and better and wiser at detecting them. Alright guys, another question, another sip of coffee. At some stage, as a full-time trader, did you feel lonely? Yes. I think feeling lonely is not always a bad thing. I think it's actually really important. Not too much. I think also then depends on context, right? But I think moments of like isolation or solitude, I think it's with the right mindset and the right intention, it's actually very powerful. I think periods of solitude is, it could be the fuel, or like it's like setting roots in, because you know yourself and you have time alone to really figure out what you want, who you are, why you are the way you are, etc., etc. Deal with anything that came from things like generational, kind of making a promise to yourself that, okay, I'll take responsibility to break generational chains, etc., etc. I did feel lonely, and I am grateful for those lonely periods, and it was actually one of the reasons why obviously I created the YouTube channel for like a bit of a sense, talking to the camera, especially if I'm just tapping away. Felt lonely in the sense that no one knew what I was doing at the start, and then I felt the effects of when I became a full-time trader, and then that's when I saw the power of community, when I kind of left the two communities that I was at, and then I left a relationship. And then that, again, was just like jet fuel to then create Life Club, where we could all just do life together, not just trading, but then, kind of everything that we speak about in this video that I've shared, we can get into some real deep topics as well, like in our calls. And it's pretty cool. We're all around the world, we're all doing our thing, but we're not alone. So feeling lonely, I think it's very common, but I think just be careful as well, like reach out to a friend, learn to be kind to yourself, all that stuff, but also put the work in. That's something I just really wanted to say as well. Alrighty, okay, I think we'll do one more question. I don't know how long this is getting, but I like this question. What are some non-negotiables you think amateur traders should have? I like this question because, the non-negotiables that I'm going to mention that amateur traders should have is actually just the non-negotiables you should have for life, whether you make it, you think you've made it, or you've climbed big mountains and then bigger mountains, right? Or biggest mountains. Like, there's certain non-negotiables that you think just you need it from the start, but you'll find out that you have to keep doing what you've done to get to where you are. Otherwise, you can just completely slip and fall and not even notice it. And again, I know, I feel like I could do a podcast literally just on this topic, like an hour-long podcast with all my life examples, but we ain't got time for that. But non-negotiables. So the first one, I think, I will just say processes. Well, I was going to say forecasting, but then it's like, I don't want to make it into like such a long list that you have the non-negotiables are this, and this. First one is just processes. Whether you are starting out in your trading, you're a year in or 10 years in. Processes is got to be like a number one thing. What does that mean? That includes forecasting your trades, backtesting, forward testing, journaling, all those sort of things. ASR, which means advanced self-review. And that's just the trading side. apply that to your personal life. Again, what's the point of elevating in trading if you ain't elevating your personal life? And plus, you can't really do one or the other, right? It's always a personal thing first and then trading. So number one is just getting down with your processes. That's a non-negotiable. The next thing I want to mention is actually not an actionable thing or a thing itself. These are values, or these are things that you need to live by, I think, which are just non-negotiable. And one of them is growth mindset, right? Just being relentless in the pursuit of growth. It makes sense when you're an amateur trader, because you think amateur, you've labeled yourself as like beginner, noob, novice, with the hopes to get to the next level, to open the next door, or to become professional, to become well-seasoned, etc., etc. To do that, you need to have that growth mindset. But there's a problem that I always see, is that people get comfortable. Even myself, moments in my journey, I've felt comfortable. I've slacked on my reading. I've slacked on my podcasts that I listen to. I slack on studying mindset or psychology, or elevating my mindset. That's so important. No matter what level, chapter you are in your journey, you need to continuously, actively, and intentionally want to grow your thinking, grow your capacity to learn, continuously be challenged. I talk about this a lot. So that would be number two. A non-negotiable mental thing is always open to grow, and being intentional about that as well. And the third thing, again, it's another belief. It's just another maybe affirmation, whatever you want to call it. It's just a non-negotiable. And you hear me say this since the start of my journey, and it's sometimes I think, where would I be without it? But it's just to persist until we succeed. I'm sure I've shared this many times already. If you've known about there's this amazing story about 4 feet away from gold. Like the miner, the guy, he gives up when he was 4 feet away from gold. Little did he know, but he gave up. But if you just persist until you succeed, you will get there. Again, I think in my previous video I said, how can you fail if you just never give up? Like, you can make mistakes, you can make errors, you can mess up, but then if you just get back up and try again, you keep going, you keep coming back and giving it your all again, absolutely no way. Like, you will make it eventually. Maybe not to what you had thought, but surely you're gonna make it to where you need to be, right? Sometimes I get a lot of my thoughts, or like even people say like, oh, I don't know where I'm going. Like, I don't even know if trading's for me. I'm feeling a little bit lost, and I'm like, what an amazing place to be, right? If you're feeling lost, let's reframe that you're on the way. All right? The power of self-talk, the power of language, and here I go again, deviating to another conversation, another topic. So that's my answer. Processes, have that mindset, and then have that belief. And hi, that's a bit awkward. I was speaking so much yesterday that my camera just died, ran out of battery. I think my camera just had enough of me speaking and deviating into deep topics. But it's currently Wednesday, September 25th, literally the same day that this is going out. So just wanted to put this at the end. And thank you guys for watching, listening. Felt like a podcast. And I hope this is a video that you can come back to, whether you feel like you want some golden nuggets or inspiration or some encouragement, or just it's just one that you can kind of leave running while you're working, while you're doing errands or whatever. I think if you really open up to it and take time, I'm praying, I'm hoping that this plants seeds in your brain, which then you got to go out and water it and put what I've said into action, and to really reflect and do some introspection on your own life, in your own journey, in your own trading. And my throat is killing me right now, so I'm going to end it here. I'm going to edit this video, and yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Please give it a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care, God bless.